Hey everybody, this is Nerd Variety. In fact, this is part Nerd Variety. This is Josh and Hayden today from Nerd Variety.
What's up?
And the reason we're coming here not for like a full podcast episode, and the reason Hannah's not here is because we are going to do a spoiler review kind of discussion, more of a discussion on Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
So today, the day of recording is December 26th. It's Boxing Day, or just the day after Christmas.
Yeah, we're going to go fight some people after this.
Yeah. Not what Boxing Day means, but...
What else does it mean? What else could it mean besides fighting someone? It's stepping like, into a ring and punching someone in the face.
Like boxes. Boxes. Stuff up. Never mind. Okay.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Must be a weird foreign country thing.
Must be.
Nothing
One
American
of those weird foreign countries.
Yeah, nothing American about that.
Yeah, so we wanted to just kind of get a little review out there as soon as we could. Of course, I didn't want to bother people who actually have, do things on Christmas to talk about it. But yeah, so this is the earliest we can really get around to it. So, Josh, first of all, I want to mention to you, I didn't think about this until like the very end of the movie, and also my knowledge is very limited about what I'm going to compare it to or ask about. Have you ever read George Orwell's 1984?
I have not, no.
So I kind of looked into it, and because I was wondering, now I guess it's set in the year 1984, Wonder Woman is, but is it also called that because it has some similarities to 1984 by George Orwell?
I don't know. I just looked at it as they wanted to do a movie set in the 80s. The 80s is a very popular time period to revisit nowadays. And they could throw in a bunch of pop culture references, and it was a very interesting time. It was also during the Cold War, so that it kind of gave them a good space to put the movie in.
Yeah. Well, and I asked, and I started to draw some connections. There's like one thing I know about 1984, and that's the whole like Big Brother thing, like they're watching you and they know everything that's going on basically. And that's sort of what Maxwell Lord did for a lot of the movie. Like he was learning people's desires and their wishes, and he was being able to take from them. And especially like near the end there, this is major spoilers right off the bat.
Yes, we're going to be we're going to be dissecting the whole movie here.
Yeah. So like, at the end, he had like the scene was a little lame in my opinion, but, had the whole wind thing going around him where he was just communicating, basically getting all the information from everyone in the world. And so I was wondering if that was because they have that sort of thing, and it maybe is a big theme that ties into 1984, which is why it would have been called that. And that's just a guess. That's just, again, I haven't read it, so I don't really know to the full extent.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I definitely makes me want to read George Orwell's 1984, but it does touch upon, with us having so much tech, with us having, revolutionary technology at the time, being able to use broadcast satellites and getting really close, getting very, very, very close to the internet age, to where information can be spread across the world. And that's when broadcast TV was in its prime. It was like, okay, well, the world's interconnected now. We are in an age where we can do things we couldn't before. I think they were, that was some things that were touched upon, or some things they wanted to kind of wink, hint at.
Yeah. But, and actually, even speaking of the technology, for some reason, I actually forgot that it was the whole point of that thing, that it was the technology that was touching all the people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I just thought that's just something that's been kind of on my brain for a little bit now.
Yeah.
Ever since that. But how did you feel about? See, now I'm trying to get around to figuring out where to start with this. How did you feel about Pedro Pascal as Max Lord?
His acting was on point, stellar. He took the role and ran with it. He was very very emotional. Very very excited, very somewhat conniving, but very you saw that he really cared about his son. You saw that he really wanted to be at the top dog, the man in charge, successful. He really wanted that. He really wanted to kind of show that persona to other people. And then when he got hooked on his power, then he really went overboard with that. A very different take of Maxwell Lord from the comics and other properties that have shown adaptations of him. He's usually a metahuman with the ability to power of suggestion, and usually he can tell you to do something. He makes eye contact with you and tell you to do something, and then you'll do it. A little bit of some mind control there, and usually and when he does that, it usually causes him to have a nosebleed. It causes him a little pressure, and they kind of hinted at that. They kind of showed a little bit of that as he progressed with his wish granting powers in the movie.
Yeah, I kind of kept forgetting what all I knew about him, because I was like, I know I'm familiar with him, with Maxwell Lord, but I think part of it was I started to every once in a while confuse him, or the character, just some of his attributes and stuff. I started to confuse him with Maxie Zeus, and I realized that eventually. I'm like, no, wait. It's because they both are Max and Lord, or Zeus, and it's I don't know. Because you watched season 2 of Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah.
That's the most recent thing that I've seen him portrayed in, and that was Maxie Zeus, right?
Yeah.
Or the bachelor party or bachelorette party.
Yeah. And he was also I think he's more of a Batman villain. Maxie Zeus, because they show him that you see it. There's an Easter egg for him in the Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, and that's why. Actually, I think it's Arkham City. It could be both, but I seem to remember a sign, like a building, that says Maxwell or Maxie Zeus, or Zeus's Palace, or something like that.
Yeah. What I remember is just you find a clue about him, a Riddler's clue about him, and then when you get that, his bio pops up in your little inventory, and she kind of shows, oh, okay, this is a Batman villain does this and this and this. I don't really remember much about his character, but I was like, okay, but in the movie, it was obviously Maxwell Lord, who he and Wonder Woman have traded blows in comics for a while.
Yeah. So that was just something I kept having to remind myself, like, no, wait, this is Maxwell Lord, and that's different and has different stuff. So yeah. But no, I agree with you about Pedro Pascal. I thought he did great. Mm-hmm. He really has a thing for he has a soft spot for children, I guess. He's always protecting them.
Yeah, he
protects the child.
Yeah.
Protects
his child. Yeah, cares about the children, wants to avenge the children.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's blown out of the water since his premiere since he showed up in Game of Thrones. I don't know what he was in. I think he was also in Narcos, but he's very popular right now.
Yeah. It took me so long to recognize him, because I kept staring at him like, I know him. What is it? It was because he doesn't have the facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
And he does have facial hair in the Mandalorian when he takes his helmet off, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the hair color is different, and I think it's a lot shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just threw me off because I had to. I don't know if I had to look it up, but yeah, just something. It was bugging me for the longest time. That's yeah.
What did you think about his character? How could you describe his character's goal and motivation?
Well, I thought that he was it was all right. It was very mixed as a character, you know, because on the one hand, I thought it was interesting, like the abilities and everything they gave him. But it was also not the most interesting. You know, like it felt, some of it felt very creative and really new and fresh, but like his whole thing was kind of like, okay, there's another guy who just like wants everything. It's another guy
Yeah,
who's after power and wealth and all that. So it's,
yeah.
I feel like they maybe could have done better with him.
What did you think was before you saw the movie? What did you have an idea of what the his which direction his character was going to go, or which direction the like? What did you think about his role, or what did you think his role was going to be in?
Well, honestly, I didn't think of him that much leading up to it. I was more focused on Cheetah. I was thinking Cheetah was going to be the main villain, which I feel like they brought her a little more to the forefront than they could have. Well, and that's in a positive way. Like in other movies where they've had like two main villains, one doesn't get nearly the attention that they should, and I feel like they really did a good job bringing up Cheetah's character. So especially like leading up to the movie, I was way more interested in her, and I was so sure that she was going to be the main villain. So yeah, there was a point I actually kind of forgot Maxwell Lord was going to be the main villain. So I didn't really have a lot of expectations for him.
Right. My theory about Maxwell's character was like, okay, I think he's going to be like he's going to cause like the most problems because he's Cheetah is never a diabolical mastermind. She's usually a good combatant for Wonder Woman, because someone to fight against and someone that she has to stop. I don't know how many evils she has, a large scale evil scheme every in where she's featured at. But I was thinking that, okay, Maxwell Lord is causing trouble, and he's going to cause more trouble. And part of me was thinking that, okay, he's either maybe he's a figurehead for a Olympian god, or another Olympian deity, or not deity, or another Olympian type mythical creature. Or and then while watching the movie, when they started bringing up the Mayan stuff, I was thinking, oh, maybe they're going to introduce another ancient god from another culture. And I was like, oh, this would be interesting. I'll see where this goes. But then it ended up just being him, taking the Dreamstone, using it to becoming the Dreamstone and granting wishes, and then enjoying that power that he gets by granting wishes, and then having his own wishes granted alongside those wishes.
Yeah, which honestly, I am glad that they didn't make him another Olympian, another one of those, because it would have felt way too similar to the first movie.
Yeah.
It was good, but again, we don't need the same kind of villain exactly.
Right. I was definitely fine with not having the same type of third act fight that happened in the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah. I mean, you did for sure have a big third act fight.
Yeah.
But that was against Cheetah.
Yeah.
So actually, speaking of which, what did you think about Kristen Wiig and Cheetah?
I think she did a great job. I really enjoyed her at playing the character, seeing her go from, bumbling, awkward wallflower, you know, just wanting to kind of, then her meeting Diana, and then that kind of changing her whole outlook, and then realizing that's what she wants, and then realizing, oh, I really want to be like her, strong, independent, and getting attention, and then seeing her kind of, and then her that desire kind of taking control of her as she gets more and more, as she gets stronger and stronger, than not wanting to give up that power, or that change, and then that kind of makes her a interesting combatant for Diana.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did a great job. I thought they did a great job building her up. Like, a lot of characters, this is a problem that comes on in with so many movies and shows and whatever. You have a character that, or video games too, for that matter, you have a character that's like good for a minute, and then there's some point where they just make a very sudden switch and they're like, okay, I'm bad now. This didn't really feel like that to me. Like, it seemed that she had it seemed like she was doing okay. She was kind of stumbling about. She was smart. She was rather nice, rather kind, but she wasn't, of course she wasn't strong physically or really emotionally.
Nope.
And yeah, she got tired of that. So, she just kind of, I guess, on a whim, made a wish. And then, she was then able to be more confident and have all this stuff, and her life was getting better for her. And then, of course, she didn't want to give that up, and she was, well, really upset at the people that had caused her harm before.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Of course she's gonna, she was powerless, then she was given power, so of course she doesn't want that to go away, and then she just wanted to fight for it, to be able to be strong like that. So it made sense for her, and it was more subtle, I felt. It wasn't just a big switch over to evil, and they explained it well too. Like, the stone takes something from you in exchange, and from her it was like her humanity, her connection to humankind that she was losing there.
What made her a good person was becoming pushed down, and that desire for more, that desire to be, as she said, an apex predator, became her personality, or who she was, and eventually she looked the part.
I kept wondering, I was waiting, like, throughout the whole thing, how are they gonna make this transition from her being like an actual person
being
to looking
a person
like Cheetah?
Yeah, because in the trailer we see her as strong, as she's standing up, she's actually fighting her. We saw that teased in the trailer, and then you see her teased as actually Cheetah fighting Diana.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, how did this happen? And I was like, okay, in the comics, she becomes Cheetah when she is cursed, or so she goes into this ancient ruin, and she takes part in this ritual, or do you know if it's accidental, or if it's purpose? Is it on her part, remember. Or is she just is it done to her?
I don't remember for sure. I don't know. I kind of keep going back and forth on what I want to say, but no, they did a good job again there of explaining it, but also I think it was smart for them to not actually have to show that transformation. I think that could have been a little lame. But Maxwell Lord was talking to her and saying, I'll give you another wish since you're helping me out and all this. And then so that's kind of when she wished for that, and then it happened off screen. Like the next time we saw her, she was Cheetah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really well done.
Yeah,
And Kristen Wiig did a great job, I thought.
Yeah, we didn't have to see the whole transformation. We could have seen it. We had to know how she got from just being like Diana and like confidence and strength, but then going from that she's a she's like she's got power to being that apex predator, becoming Cheetah.
Yeah.
Could have used a little more of a like a little build up to her transforming, but I thought it was good. But then comes the strife I had with with her fight with her post transformation, and then her fight with Diana, and then the ending. I don't think that was handled properly.
I'm sorry, say that again. The transition between the fight and the ending? Or?
Yeah, seeing her, she was like, okay, she's Cheetah. But then, she had a good fight with Diana, but then it was after that, it was like, okay. But also with that, there were some problems I had with it. One, she was gray.
Yeah.
And at night, which it was like,
that bothered me a little bit.
Yeah,
I tried to let it go,
but it's something that they keep doing with these, fantasy, sci-fi, superheroes type movies. They keep making the villains gray at night, and it's just like, okay. One, and also, Cheetah is never gray or silver in the comics. She's not the leopard. She's the cheetah.
Yeah.
And in other adaptations, she's like orange gold. She's a freaking cheetah.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a humanoid cheetah.
Which is, again, that was another thing I was just like,
yeah.
I mean, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah,
Fine,
yeah.
But
it didn't hit me watching the trailer. I was just more glad to see her and seeing how she got there and seeing them fight. But then saw it was like, okay, it was a good fight. But she was more than a match for Diana. But still, it was like she's not. She doesn't look like that. Why did they make her look like that? I think they did a good job with doing a blend of like CG and then also having her using prosthetics and stuff.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't quite Cats.
No, they didn't want to go full Cats, but
it was better.
Yeah.
So
and then
I'm sorry.
And then I was going to talk about how Wonder Woman beats her, but after that it's just like she at the end when everyone's renouncing their wishes and everything's going back to normal, she renounces her. Do you see her renouncing her wish?
I was trying to remember. I remember seeing her not as Cheetah, but which I was a bit disappointed about, but I don't think so. If she did it probably really quietly.
Yeah. Maybe she saw the error in her ways and was like, yeah, I'll give it up. Maybe. It's not worth it. But then you see her, normal when everything's going back to. You see her go back to being Barbara, and then everything going back to normal. But it was just like, okay, she's powerless and sad, and there's no, like showing her as a better person after that. There's no redemption there. There's also no like, oh, Barbara for for beating up all these White House guards and stuff, you're going to jail, or her wanting a revenge plot, or even wanting to get more power. There wasn't anything like that after that. Yeah. I was thinking maybe a post-credit scene, but I didn't see nothing happened. So So now the question is like, okay, she's alive, but what happened with is there going to be anything else with her character after this?
I mean, that's something that I hope they do more with her, which that actually brings me to a question that I was going to ask. Did you think in the moment that they were going to kill her?
I was teetering on the edge of that. I was like, oh crap, I see the writing is on the wall. This is either gonna, it's gonna either hurt her severely or kill her.
Right.
But I was like, oh, which one are they gonna do?
I was like, oh God, they're gonna kill her. They're gonna pull a Man of Steel.
Just you don't have to kill the villain every time.
Exactly. And but then she was alive, and I was like, okay, I can deal with this because that means there's a chance they're gonna bring her back, which they totally should.
Yeah, there's still a chance. Well, maybe they'll have something in the. I think they're gonna have a third movie, so there could, or maybe another DC film featuring her. But I hope she and the studio would be up for having her come back.
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman has been in 4 DC movies so far. So.
Oh yeah, she's been on a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So how did you feel about Diana, Wonder Woman, Steve, and Steve Trevor coming back. Chris Pine came back for this movie.
Yeah.
And
I had a lot of thoughts on that. So at first, when it first happened in the movie, and the way that happened, I was just like, I don't know what's happening for sure. Like, are we just seeing him how she sees him, or did he somehow change form immediately? Luckily, they do explain it later, pretty subtly. They say, or she says, I mean, all I see is you when I look at you, and honestly, I like Chris Pine. I thought he did a great job. And I think it would have been weird if they had not used him, if they had shown the other guy.
Yeah.
The entire time. So I was like, I'm here for this.
Yeah. Or maybe it was part of her wish, or it was kind of part of her wish where it brought him back in that dude's body. But since it was Diane that made the wish, it was so they could be together, they would be powering around, but she would see that all she could see was Steve, because of the Dreamstone. Or was it just
I don't think
was it her just projecting
imagination, basically?
Yeah, was she just it's the other guy, but it's Steve on the inside,
That's kind of what my takeaway was.
Yeah. Which one? That it was the latter.
Not that it was the stone. That it was just she was just because she knew it was him, mm-hmm. and because she loved him, and because he was talking like him and all that. Then that's what she was seeing. That's what she was imagining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would thought it would be better if it was that drink, because if it was her wish, it caused him to show up. It caused him to show up in that dude's body, but it was so that she could see that it was she would see Steve, and everyone else would see that other guy. But the question I had was, it was because of her wish to have him come back, and that was caused her to lose her powers. That was what was making her.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the price that was paid, because again, all the wishes had a price. They had to give something up. So for her, it took her strength. Okay.
Yeah, that didn't really become clear until she had to renounce her wish. Yeah,
I felt like that did come clear a bit earlier than that. But yeah, when she first got hit.
Yeah.
And they kind of explained it.
Yeah, initially I thought it was because Barbara made her wish on the Dreamstone, and wishing she could be like Diane, that was causing some of Diane's power to go to Barbara and cause her to become stronger, instead of Diane made the wish, Steve Trevor's back, but it's causing her to lose her abilities, or not be as strong as she usually is.
I could see that, but nah.
But yeah, it became clear after the movie, after she lost her big fight to Barbara, and then realized that, okay, I've got to let him go, and he was very understanding of that. Even had to coach her through, yo, it's me, it's not you, it's me. Yeah, I gotta, we gotta make the hard choice here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's just so much to talk about with this movie, I think. But how did you feel about? Let's just go with how did you feel about the cameos throughout this? Some of the little Easter eggs and stuff, because there were a good number, I'd say.
Now we can start from the beginning and look at how it was. They went back to Themyscira. They showed Diana as a kid again, which kind of throws me off the timeline a little bit because her mother didn't know she was training with Antiope until she got older in the first movie. But then it shows her as completing these Amazon Olympics as a younger girl, which was
I didn't even think about that, honestly.
But I still enjoyed seeing Robin Wright become as Antiope again. That was cool.
Yeah, and I liked how that ended, and just showing Diana as a kid, just like she cheated, and she got there, and then she just stopped her. It's like, no, I want to win.
I was so close to winning. You took it from me. No.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you did kind of, you took a shortcut, and, and I guess that does come back up in the movie that you can't, you're cheating by using the Dreamstone to get what you want, or just wishing for it. Usually you have to, take life as it comes and earn what you get.
Yeah, and there's always a penalty for taking the easy way. So that was the whole theme of the movie.
Yeah,
it's a good setup.
So we're looking at cameos and other cameos and Easter eggs and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Well, so if you don't want to go from beginning to end, just kind of as you think of them, there is the obvious one in the post credits.
Actually, I was going to go with another
There are a few obvious, but
there's another one that I wanted to bring up. Not so much a cameo, but an Easter egg, and that was at the climax where she's trying to stop Max Lord because he's got all the power. He's got power from granting so many wishes, and then getting power in return from those wishes being granted, and she can't really stop him. But she starts giving her speech. And do you recognize the song, the instrumental track that plays?
I do not remember right now. I can't think of it.
It's called A Beautiful Lie, and it was from Dawn of Justice. It was the song that plays during the montage of Bruce running from his parents' funeral, reliving them showing that night where his parents are gunned down.
I did not remember that. I'll have to look into it again, I guess.
Yeah, I love that track. And I thought I was really glad they included it in that part. It makes sense because the song is called A Beautiful Lie, and it kind of coincided with what was going on, that Max Lord was granting all these wishes, and giving people what they want, but it was it wasn't really what people wanted. It was all kind of like it looks good, but it's not the truth, or I'm trying to see how I can make sure I can piece it together. And then it showed she was using the lasso of truth to show him the truth, which we didn't see until they revealed it to that she actually got his ankle, and he started seeing the truth of everything.
Wait, and actually that whole scene was a bit weird to me. It was a little off-putting. Her speech felt, I don't know, cheesy.
It was. This movie had a lot of cheese in it.
Yeah, but not
it was made in Wisconsin, so it was cheese.
But no, because it was kind of weird about the whole lasso thing, because I guess what I understood from the lasso was she did that around him so that when she spoke, she was touching the lasso was touching him. That way the particles were in contact with her and everybody else. So they could all hear that as he was doing that. I don't know. It was a bit complicated. It felt like there were a lot of reasons, because then the lasso showed him the truth, as you said. Mm-hmm. And it's does the lasso do that? I thought it just forced people to say the truth or something.
Remember that in when she and Trevor went back to her apartment and she went to her little TV room, where she also had that Themyscirian armor in storage, and she was telling Trevor about that ancient Amazon that defended everyone, and he was like, I'll show you the truth, and it can make you tell the truth, but it can also show you the truth.
Well, yeah, and again, like I mean, when I said that, I meant I know that they explained it in the movie, but outside of the movie, I didn't think the Lasso of Truth did that. But maybe it does. I
don't. Yeah.
Possible. I'm just not familiar with it in that sense, that context.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen it done that anywhere else. It's just
But I mean, they established the truth. Yeah, they established their own stuff anyways, which is fine because at least as it's in the context of that.
Mm-hmm.
But with how comic books are anyway, with people's powers, they they change what they do a lot.
Yeah, they can always add stuff to make it work for the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, when she did it to Steve Trevor, how did you feel about what was her name? Asteria.
Asteria. Yeah.
How do you feel about Asteria being played by? You know who?
Linda Carter. Linda Carter. Linda Carter.
Yeah. I actually knew this was going to happen because I think they said it. I think they announced it during the DC. What was it this year? The DC
fandom.
Yeah, fandom.
Yeah, we did an episode about that.
Yeah, and I think they even announced that Linda Carter was going to be in it. Was going to make a cameo.
I maybe so. I think maybe someone may have reported that she had a cameo in the movie, which would make sense. But I wasn't sure it was going to be all that.
Yeah.
Always saw. I guess that was her in the flashback scene, like showing her eyes. And it was just that I was like, I had no idea who I was like, I have no idea who this is. And then showing her like in the modern in the 80s walking around, stopping logs from falling on people, and then cutting back. I was like, is that her? I was thinking, oh, that's probably Diana or someone else.
I mean, that's the point. They're trying to get you to think it's Diana.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like, is that Cheetah or something? Maybe is that Barbara with black hair? What? And then it's like, oh crap, it's her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. I always love it when older characters from older properties come up and can have cameos or other roles, or even reprise a role from in newer DC stuff.
Yeah.
I think everyone likes that.
Yeah. And actually, I was going to say, is the golden armor itself a cameo? I kind of assume it is, but again, I don't read a lot of Wonder Woman stuff.
Excuse me. I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know if that was a older comic thing or a recent comic thing. I don't know.
All right, so I'm just looking something up so that I have some kind of information. This says Diana first suited up as her own specialized winged victory in the 3rd issue of Elseworlds Kingdom Come.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with that one. Like I've heard the name. I don't think I've read it yet, but yeah. It was. How did you feel about that armor in the movie?
I thought it was a cool change. I like how they explained the armor, and I guess it was it was a cool add-on to the final scene, because of course it could have had her use her regular, she was back to being fully powered up, so she could have handled storming into the base without it. But I think it was cool that it was kind of more of a symbolic thing, that she was going to protect mankind. That's why she put the armor on, and I guess it did help while she was fighting Cheetah.
Was she powered up by that time? I thought she still hadn't renounced her wish by the time she put on the armor, which is why she put it on.
Oh, no, you hear her renouncing her wish, and then getting her more of her power back, and then healing up, running, and then jumping in the sky, and then which is cool. And then a cool thing, she learns to fly by herself.
You're right.
I think, yeah.
And honestly, that was another thing. I couldn't remember if she was flying in the first movie. I was thinking she was, but I guess not. I guess she was just jumping really far.
Yeah. She has the super leaping, of course, but flight was like, it wasn't really clear if she could fly or not. But then another cameo was with the invisible jet.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, more of an Easter egg, I'd say, but yeah. I was pretty happy about the invisible jet thing.
When it happened. There it is. That's cool. And they're not going to make it a major thing, because otherwise doesn't really fit with modern stuff.
Yeah, and I was actually talking with my dad about it earlier today. He didn't know that she could fly. I'm like, she's been flying since the 50s.
She's been flying for a while now.
Ever since Crisis. Post-Crisis, her abilities have always included flying. Well, I don't know about always, but I'm sure there's a rare issue here or there where she can't. But I don't know. Yeah, that's a major thing. They haven't used the invisible jet really since then, I don't think, at least not in the main story for her.
Yeah, I remember in the animated movie Bloodlines, they have this, I think there's a super secret jet that she gets a hold of that can go, that's invisible to radar and just invisible to the naked eye. But other than that, they don't really like to use it too much.
Yeah, which I think makes sense. She's one of the ones that can fly, and I'm glad that she can.
yeah, she's a demigod. She should be able to.
She should be able to.
She doesn't need an invisible jet.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe for Trevor, but
Yeah. But no, she also had some changes, like with her equipment this time, which makes sense. Like in the other movie, I guess she was at war, and or in Dawn of Justice, she was fighting Doomsday and all that. So it made sense for her to have her shield and her sword. But this one, she didn't have it at all. She was just using her lasso, as well as her armor, like her gauntlets and her circlet.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that was, I think that was a good choice of just kind of cutting back the sword and shield. Because she wasn't fighting, she wasn't fighting a war with soldiers. She wasn't fighting Ares. She wasn't fighting Doomsday or Steppenwolf or parademons, Yeah. So, and her, I think, as you noticed, her big thing in this time period is her being a very reclusive, secret hero.
Yeah.
Kind of, she disabled those cameras in that opening mall scene, and I think, if she was just using the lasso to fight people, especially because she didn't really want to kill anyone, it was a good mix of, it was a good choice to use.
Yeah, I thought so too. They did some interesting things with it, but one thing to me was, and again, this may just be my lack of information on Wonder Woman as a character throughout the comics and everything, but it just extends as far as she wants it to, basically, doesn't it?
Yeah. She has like complete control of how much of the rope she has at one time. I wonder how there's like a measurement for how long this rope, this lasso is, because it has some reach.
Yeah, no, again, I think it's like endless or something. Like it can just go as far as she wants, because there were a few points where I'm like, okay, based on what we've seen before, this is way longer than it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's like it's a weapon or it's a utility, I guess, of the gods. So why wouldn't it do something like that?
Yeah, it's a magical lasso. So, along with showing you the truth or making you tell the truth, I guess it does what she needs. It works for whatever she needs it to do. And as we've seen, it's very, all encompassing. She can use it for deflecting bullets. She can use it to, get information, show information, propel her,
propel her forward,
grab lightning,
grab lightning, yes.
Lightning bolts, and so
because that made a lot of sense.
I mean, again, she is a demigod, so and she's Zeus's child, so why not?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
That was still a cool scene.
Oh yeah. That was definitely that was a money shot for the trailers. It's like, oh wow. Yeah.
We don't have to do much to challenge the logic. It just defies logic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. How did you feel about her characterization in this movie?
So, I guess going into it, if I were to watch it again, which I most definitely will at some point, I need to be more prepared. I have to have the mindset that this is a different era for her. So it's a different part of her life and she's approaching everything differently.
Yeah.
So she's, as you said, she's a little more reclusive and not over Steve, apparently. She's not as, I don't know. She's I guess not as out there as she was in the first one or by the time Dawn of Justice and Justice League come around.
Yeah.
So it felt a bit weird to me at times because it felt like a lot of the movie she was spending it just kind of moping. She was doing stuff, but her attitude just felt a little mopey.
Yeah, she was very much a recluse. One with not being a very public hero, and then you kind of see in shots that she was close with her friends from World War I until they all passed away. I think after that, I think it was just a matter of, well, I don't really want to make any new friends because I'm immortal, and I don't want people to put two and two together and see that, oh, she's immortal. Oh yeah, she's also that superhero that's been running around for the last 60, 70 years.
I also didn't quite get what the problem with that would be, because she kind of does that in the comics, right? She just kind of runs around, at least in more modern stuff. So maybe that's the difference.
It's never really clear how long I think they say she's been around for a while, but I think in this one it's weird because she can't go back to Themyscira and just chill out for however long she needs to, and then come back and then go back to man's world. But she's there, and she's as we see in Dawn of Justice, they've been pulling up footage of her for years and tracking and seeing that, oh, she's the same person from years and years ago. And I think in Justice League you see her as becoming a public hero. And not being afraid to show her face to cameras or people.
Yeah. So it was good for the most part again, but I think I just need to, upon rewatching, get in the mindset that this is a different time in her life.
Yeah.
Still good though.
Yeah, overall a fun romp. Decent effects, a lot of good, cinematography. There were some janky effects in a couple parts, but overall it was a really good show.
And I know I'm missing some Easter eggs because I remember there were more that kind of stood out as I was watching, but I just can't immediately remember right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. What else? Is there anything else we need to talk about for the movie?
I'm just thinking about how bad it would be if everyone could have their wish granted.
Oh God, so bad. No, that was another thing actually with the movie. I guess I have a hard time really deciding if I think it helped or hurt the movie. Just that basically the whole world was in a ridiculous like state. Like it was super chaotic
Yeah,
almost all the
yeah.
time, especially like the second half or maybe just the third act. But
I mean, after that international thing happened with the Bialia, excuse me, and that wall popping up,
yeah,
that, and then when you take like 80% of the world's oil for yourself,
yeah,
yeah, you're gonna raise some feathers, or raise some eyebrows.
yeah. And again, I like how it was handled because it was one of those things where it's like he's doing this stuff. It makes an impact on the
Yeah,
world. It
yeah.
makes things crazy.
I mean, for real, like if you wanted to be successful, all you would need is really like 30 or 40%. If you really just wanted to have like enough money and not have to worry about anything, all you need is that much. You don't need 80-90%, because then everyone and their mom is gunning for you. Everyone's gonna want something from you. You're not gonna have any time to yourself or any privacy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just that kind of stuff. I thought it was, I guess it's mixed for me because, again, then like everything just felt crazy and like there
Yeah.
was a lot of chaos going on in the movie,
Oh yeah.
but it was at least logical, I suppose.
Well, yeah, yeah. That's what happens when everyone can have their wish granted. The world's basically is turned upside down.
Yeah.
And I guess it worked out, because if Max Lord can renounce his wishes to not be the Dreamstone anymore, and then everyone else can also, if Diana's message got through instead, and everyone else was like, okay, yeah, I'll renounce my wish too, then I guess that would take the world back to where it was before. But it got really out of hand. Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it. I think if I were to rate this, if I were to rank it in the, what is it now? Is it the DCCU?
DCEU.
That's the extended universe. Is that what
Yeah.
the films are considered, or is the? I thought the EU was still more encompassing than that.
The DC extended universe. Yeah, that's right.
It's not the DC cinematic universe.
Well, no, because then they will be, how you guys stole that from Marvel.
Yeah,
You guys are just trying to,
yeah.
All the trolls would call them out on it. So they were like, oh, or the extended universe.
Yeah. Well, so in terms of that, ranking between all those others, I'd put it not as good as. So now I have to go through and think of all the movies that have been released so far.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
I'm kind of thinking third, just off the bat. I may be forgetting a really great one, but yeah, I'd probably put Wonder Woman, the first one, maybe top, and then Aquaman, and then this one's probably right behind there. Not as good as those two, not as good as Aquaman or Wonder Woman, the first one, but not as disjointed and kind of a little bit off as Dawn of Justice, even though I love Dawn of Justice. Don't get me wrong. And I didn't like Man of Steel as much. And, well, I'm not going to want... I obviously can't compare it to the Justice League Snyder cut because that's not been released yet.
Yep, it's only 3 more months.
Yeah.
3 months. 3 months to go.
So not as bad as that. But yeah, I think probably third overall. I don't know if I'm missing some films. Not as bad as Suicide Squad. Are there any other DC films I'm missing?
I am finishing up my ranking here.
Okay.
Actually, that is. Okay, we have 9 films, and I am going off I'm gonna put them. I'm gonna rank them in the order that I view of how much
Maybe
I like
fourth.
them.
Maybe fourth.
Yeah. Wonder Woman the first Wonder Woman movie is a 1. I give Aquaman a 2. Man of Steel is 3.
Okay. To each his own.
Yeah. I would say Shazam is number 4.
I did forget about Shazam.
Yeah. Shazam, number 4. This one, Wonder Woman 84, get that at 5. That's number 5. Okay. Number 6 is Justice League. Number 7, actually.
You like Justice League better than Dawn of Justice?
Yeah, it's a little more. It has a little more consistent tone, even though it's not done well. I don't. If I were to give it a scale on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 5, just because it's like just because it's right in the middle of like being, it's got everything. It's got everything, a lot of stuff that you want, and it's something that you want to see, but it just doesn't hit. It hits some notes very poorly.
Yeah. Okay. What number was that on your list?
I gave Justice League, put that at 6. I gave Birds of Prey a 7. Actually, no. Let me check. Let me. I'll give
Birds of Prey was the one that I just remembered about, and I think I would put Birds of Prey at 3, and then move Wonder Woman 84 at 4, and then I would, and then probably just after that Shazam, and then Dawn of Justice, Justice League, and Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Birds of Prey at a 7, Dawn of Justice at an 8. And Suicide Squad at a 9, which actually Dawn of Justice just really just irks me right now, because it's been 4 years, and I'm still like almost 5 years since it came out, and I'm still just kind of like, I would give it a solid 4. It's a 4 or 5 for me, like on a scale of 1 to 10 for me, because it has a lot of like, it's a really good looking movie, but it just doesn't. They just didn't write it right. It just wasn't written on par the way it should have been.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so that's kind of our list right there, our ranking of it in the DCEU, and that kind of, I guess, gives you an idea for our review on it. So I would say definitely watch it. I would say it's definitely worth a watch. It's on the better half of the DCEU so far.
Yeah. In the
top 5, it sounds like, for both of us, at least.
It's between a 5 and a 10 for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's upper 5, the top 5, I would say.
Well, I'm using as like 1 being kind of being bad.
Oh,
like okay, Suicide Squad level, like 1 or 2
so
Suicide
you're
Squad.
Thinking of like a 1 to 10.
Yeah, and it's not as good as, I wouldn't say it's quite as good as the first Wonder Woman, but it's up there, in the top, in like over 7, I would say.
Yeah, I would probably give it maybe an 8, just because it's also like, it looks good, sounds good, it's mostly good. It stumbles on a few things, being maybe a little predictable and cheesy, but it did a really good job, especially the actors and all that.
Oh yeah, the actors, did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we hope that you have found this useful, or just fun if you've already seen the movie and didn't care about getting things spoiled. And if you have seen it, let us know if you're going to watch it again, if you need a second viewing. I always think second viewings are great and usually needed.
Yeah, and you have options of watching it in a theater, safely, of course. But if you have access to HBO Max, it's there for the next 30 days. So go for it.
True.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas, whatever. Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. It is after Christmas, so we're not really doing all that. And this is just kind of a little extra video we decided to do for our little break. And remember, we will be coming back with the podcast, Nerd Variety, starting sometime in January or maybe February. If was it you or Hannah that wanted to put it off so long? I
think we're still looking at the end of second half of January.
Yeah, someone wanted to really push it off until late. I think that was Hannah. But anyways, we'll get back to you. Follow us. We'll provide updates. We'll let you know. You will not be taken by surprise.
No, we're not going to drop anything unannounced. And until then, we have plenty of episodes for you to catch up on if you've missed a few, or if it's the first thing you're listening to from us.
Yeah, we got plenty. You can find us Podbean if you use that, but that also sends it out to like Amazon Podcast, iTunes, Google Play Podcast, or whatever that is now.
Spotify,
all sorts of things. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. iHeartRadio. Anyways, thanks again for coming. We hope you guys enjoy and have a great new year.
Yep, 2021. Woo! Almost here.
All right, nerd out.
Nerd out.